It sure does sound like Kirby Smart's excited to play this Orange Bowl. Listen to this one thing that he said when someone asked him about if there's been any drop off in practice for the Dogs. He said, "Absolutely not. I don't know that the practices leading up to Christmas break were what I would love, but since we've been back, the two we've had have been really good." And by the way, Georgia practiced on Christmas Day, which was Monday. Yesterday was what traditionally is Bloody Tuesday, so Georgia's had two practices for the Orange Bowl already, and being able to practice in Athens and then on Tuesday, having your traditional physical practice, and then flying to the bowl site, that gives you the ability to kind of glide on into a bowl week. These bowl weeks, the week you travel, that's really tricky. Here's another thing he said. We've done a lot of one-on-ones, one versus ones, I should say. Ones versus ones, 2-on-2s, and probably gotten more 3-on-3s than ever because we've gotten good depth with the 9, 10, 11. I don't know how many fifth years that are at Georgia now. So there's been a lot of depth. He says, we're always trying to play to our standard because we've had a lot more good on good practices. It's probably been the best bowl practices in terms of not going against the scout team and going against each other. And he always wants to say, because when you don't know 100% what you're going to see, you're better off going against really good people. Now, let me clarify this real quick. So, and of course, when I look this way, it's the board, which I've shown once, and I'm not going to show every single time we do the videos. But what happens here is, actually, I think I may be able to. No, I can't do it this second. What happens is you've got all the guys that signed and are enrolled at Georgia. They can practice, so they've gotten a little bit of that in Athens before Christmas. So that's been a good thing. But there's been a lot of so-called good on good. Now, I don't think they're tackling to the ground a lot. So there's that. The other thing is, for Georgia, this is the first time they've not been in the playoff. Now, this is the first time they've not been in the playoff since the year 2000, which was such a strange time. I mean, time on Earth. But in terms of, the calendar, that was a strange one. I don't remember exactly when they were permitted to start practice in 2020. But don't forget, they played a game on December 12th that year. And so they only turned around not even 3 weeks later, or right at 3 weeks later, and played. That was a Friday when they played Cincinnati in the bowl game. They played on the 12th, and they essentially played 3 weeks later. So they had like 2 off weeks. So I don't recall how they did that whole mess. But so we're going back to like 2019, the last time that they were in this actual situation. And it may be that Kirby and them are, I know they want to play in the playoff. Everybody knows how much Florida State and Georgia want to be in the playoff and all that. Well, they're not. And I'd be surprised at this stage if Georgia doesn't play well in this game. And I know there's been so much rock kicking or dust thrown up, not because of Georgia's fault necessarily, or necessarily Florida State's fault, although there's been a lot of drama in Tallahassee lately, or coming from the world of Florida State. And, what I would say is Georgia seems to be, I think they're very eager to play this game. They've been preparing for it. Whether Brock Bowers plays or not, I doubt it. Amarius Mims, I doubt it. But everybody else, I would say they're probably playing in this game. You've got the return of Carson Beck, not just for this game, but for the season in 2024. You've got there's a lot of momentum in this team right now, or this program. I'm not sure that it's so easy after losses for folks to overreact to things, and that's just human nature. Georgia lost a game by 3 points to one of the best 4 teams in the country. It may be a team that wins the national championship. That doesn't mean that their program fell apart. In fact, I think that they can prove on Saturday. It does. The days do get confusing at this point of the season, or at this point of the year. They can prove on Saturday what kind of program they are by the way they perform, whether they win or lose. I think that what I would be concerned about for our Florida State person, I was talking to somebody last night who is, I wouldn't say acutely aware of the Florida State situation. They're married to a Florida State person, and they sort of know that world a little bit. And their question was, is this a one-shot thing for Florida State? Because when you compare, talking about the season, I'm not sure that we know the answer, and I'm not sure that the answer is yes, that it is a one-shot thing. My suggestion is that Florida State is not a one-year situation right now, but it's been a rough run for Florida State, and we can't say that for Georgia. When you take a look at the last 10 years for Florida's last 10 seasons, we're going to say, so 23 back to 24, or back to 2014. After the 16th season, it was a disaster. So 17, they were 7-6. They were 5-7 and 6-7 and 18 and 19. They were 3-6 in Mike Norvell's first season at Florida State. He followed that up with 5-7. They had 4 straight seasons, y'all, of losing seasons. Okay, excuse me. Yes, 4 straight seasons of losing. One of those seasons was preceded by a 7-6 year. So when Mark Norvell came back last year, and they have not won the ACC, y'all, since 2014. So that's a lot of not winning. So that's 8 seasons sandwiched between their most recent ACC championship and their last ACC championship. It's been rough in Tallahassee. So, Georgia, though, that's not where they're at all. That's not where they're at all. And I think that's what I would say right now is let's just quickly compare the two, although it's not a fair comparison. Since 2014, Georgia's gone 10-3, 10-3, 8-5. Okay, 10-3, 10-3, 8-5, 13-2, 11-3, 12-2, 8-2, 14-1, 15-0. What are they? 12-1 right now. They've had 8 10-win or better seasons. Actually, in the last 8 years, or 10 years, I should say. And it's just, they've had, one of the reasons they didn't have a 10-win season in 2020 was because they played 10 games. So, they have won the Peach Bowl, won the Orange Bowl, won the Peach Bowl, won the Sugar Bowl, won the Rose Bowl. Those are 5 wins in major bowl games. They have played in the national championship 3 times and won it twice. We know where Georgia's going. And at least the leading indicators are that Georgia is moving forward in a very significant way. In fact, I would argue that this century, where we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Florida State seasons that have been 10 wins or more, Georgia's done that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They've done that since 2011. Forget the whole century. So these teams are, and I don't know why I'm starting to talk compared to the two are not comparable at this moment. This season they are, but that's comes to the question is, are they both? Is Georgia excited to play in the Orange Bowl? Because Florida State is not. Georgia's acting like they are, and I know they're not. I know they're really not. I know they'd rather be in New Orleans or in Los Angeles, but you have to accept what reality is. And the reality is for both these teams that they're not where they want to be or need to be. I'll tell you one thing. If you want really awesome food, our friends at DoorDash got you hooked up 50% off of a $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order. Download the DoorDash app today and enter the code DAWG football, DAWG football. The subject change and terms apply. Make sure that you're taking advantage of DoorDash during the holidays. I've cooked a lot this week for Christmas, for pre-Christmas, for post-Christmas. New Year's I will cook New Year's Day. Take advantage of DoorDash today while you can. It's an awesome deal that they've given us to give to y'all. And I think, when you read what Kirby's saying and, where this program's at, the practices at Georgia are sort of uber competitive. The guys talk all the time about how practices are harder than the games. I think my suspicion is that is rarely not the case. My suspicion is that Georgia is almost always having more difficult practices. It seems to me like this is very much a situation where, the practices are going to be harder than the game. This one more comment from Kirby, because it's been raining in Georgia constantly here lately. He says what he's looking forward to the most about going to the Orange Bowl. He says the kids getting away from our campus and getting sunshine and getting out here to compete. I'm ready to play. I want these guys to go play. A lot of guys have been working their butts off, moving up and down the depth chart. Important moment. We're probably healthier than we've been the last 4 or 5 games of the year. That's great to see these guys go out and play. I mean, I'm really proud of the guys that are dying to go play. Our guys want to play. We're excited to go play. So our guys are excited. Hey, man. Hey, listen. That's all you needed to hear from Kirby.